So part of the oh, that's all right. They'll learn. Dennis, part of the class that I teach a 2-day class, and it's everything from beginning to end. Start finding a location, licenses, permits, equipment, manufacturing, the whole thing. Anyway, one of the last things we do is we had a question yesterday afternoon, and the question was, well, how do we test a recipe in the machine? And the answer is obvious. You don't test it. That's all right, I'll cut you out of the video. The answer is you don't test a recipe in the machine. What we do is we make it on the counter, right? We made it on the counter. We figured out, we asked what everybody wants. They said, hey, how about this? So on the counter, we take a 1 quart, I won't bother you with all the details, and of course I want you to come to my class, but we take a 1 quart container, just a plastic container like the pink one over there, and we create a recipe in that until we add, we subtract, we do everything, and then when we get it perfectly according to taste, we multiply it out to fit in any machine that they're using. So yesterday, we decided to make a Nutella ice cream. Everybody know what Nutella is? What is Nutella? Hazelnut. Nutella is hazelnut. But it doesn't taste like hazelnut. It tastes like good chocolate, which is crazy. But hazelnut, Nutella is taking over the world. You can now buy Nutella in little get fat quick things, in case you're not getting fat enough, these will help you get fat between meals. So we developed a recipe, and we didn't make it yesterday. We ran out of time, I guess. We were running late. We went till yesterday evening. So I thought, let's make it today, according to the recipe that we made yesterday. So we'll make it today, and we'll see what... Yes? No. Okay. So we'll make it today. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a choice because we ran a little long on Vicky's portion, so we had to cut out one of my ice creams. That's okay. It's in the book anyway. So, what would you rather make? The new, untried, untested Nutella ice cream, or tried and true peppermint patty? Nutella. Let's see Nutella. Nutella? Peppermint patty? Vicky, you're done. You're finished. So we'll make the Nutella. And I guess we have chocolate chips here. Let's throw chocolate chips in it, okay? No? Chocolate chips? No chocolate chips. Oh, what are you, anti-American here?
Don't leave them whole. Crush them up if you're going to put them in.
It's enough out of you. Okay, I need mix. So talk amongst yourselves. But as soon as I walk back in here, here comes the mix. All right, so the formula we worked out is, should I give this to them? They didn't work for it. We worked for it. So keep it amongst ourselves? Share. Okay. Only the people who bought my book listen to the recipe. Otherwise, don't listen. Let's see, we're going to need 5 quarts. 5 quarts in a 6-quart bucket. Oh, you're going to do it? Yeah. Hey, my little helper. There's 4. Keep going. Keep going. There we go. Because you'll want to probably keep this. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's only 2 ingredients. Actually, there's 3. I'm going to use some of that real expensive vanilla. This used to be $30. Now, is this a gallon? This is over $800. So, yeah, US, 800 US. So don't say anything to anybody because we're being held hostage by the vanilla manufacturers. That's a story for another day. Or a horse of a different color. So we'll take this will be 5, and we'll pour it in. I did rinse the machine out from, what did we make before? Whatever we made before? What did we make? Pumpkin maple walnut. By the way, the pumpkin recipe is in the book, in case you didn't write it down. So that's the mix. Then we're going to add the Nutella. This is the little jars of Nutella. When I buy it at the store, we use quite a bit of it. I buy it in buckets. All right. Okay. How much we use is we're going to use probably 20 ounces because yesterday we figured it for 40 in my machine, so we'll go with half, 20 ounces. One second. What was the question? How much mix? 5 quarts. 5 quarts of mix, 20 ounces Nutella, and a little of this. Just a splash for some flavor. This is another one of those Tyranny flavors, and pray tell, it's hazelnut. Now, the Nutella doesn't really taste like hazelnut. It's really like chocolate. So I added this to give it that hazelnutty flavor, and we'll see if it works. Now, we said chocolate chips, right? No. What's with this group? And we'll put some vanilla in. Now, we used 5 quarts of mix, right? So how much vanilla? 5 ounces. And that's it. As with any new recipe, we'll taste this a few times. We'll taste this a few times, one right now, and then one a little less than halfway through so that we can make adjustments, because it's brand new. Even with recipes, say the book. Where's the book? You didn't open it yet? In the, that's all right. Oh yeah, you can open it. You have one open, right? Your book? In the book, this is Linda's book. Even if you go a recipe in the book, candy canes like that, caramel crunch, any recipe that you have, and I've got hundreds, every time you make it, you're going to check it because things change. The recipe doesn't change, but you change, and society changes, and the world changes. We're waxing philosophical now. You may discover down the road, you know, a few customers told me that caramel crunch wasn't sweet enough. You know, a few customers told me it was too sweet. You know, I tasted it today. It didn't taste as sweet as it did. It didn't have enough caramel flavor. It's going to happen. That's why who you entrust to make your ice cream in the store is very important. They can't be a robot. They have to have some sense of where you're going in the store, where the customers are, and the flavors. because it's going to be up to them a little bit to make sure that the flavors are contemporary to that day, that batch, and so on. I'm not saying change them, but be willing to adapt to them. Does it make sense? No? No? Okay. Whoa. That's good. I wouldn't change anything. Actually, I might add the rest of this Nutella. What the heck, right? Yeah, right? Okay. How do we get it out of here? Yes. Because can you have too much Nutella? No. And it's either add it or leave it for Steve. He'll get it. Linda, come here. Come on. Get this out of there.
I do this with my kids, so I know how to do it.
Yes, I could tell you're a Nutella person. And that's it. That's all we're adding. Except the chocolate chips, right? What's wrong with chocolate chips? Too much chocolate? Very good. Julie, excellent. You hear what she said? Nutella is more milk chocolate. The chips are dark chocolate. How about if we had milk chocolate chips? Got a shot. How we doing? What's this on the outside? To lick?
I usually put boiling water, I shake it up, and
Well, it's one thing you're not getting here. We're working under very, very tough conditions. Okay, we're good. You don't have to be able to see through the jar.
one a week.
You don't look like this.
Okay, you wanna?
No, you want to lick the bowl?
No, it's okay.
All right, so we added a little more Nutella. So sue me. It's a new flavor. What are you eating? Chips. Chips. All right, everybody knows what Nutella is, right? Do you know where Nutella comes from?
Nutella land. Australia.
Where? Nutella is Danish. Yeah. It's one of my trivia questions. Where does Nutella come from? And you know what's crazy? As good as Nutella is, it hasn't been copied by Borden or Kraft or anything else, which is amazing because it's so popular. I don't suspect it'll be too long before we have a bogus Nutella, right? By Palmolive or something, or one of those companies. No, but there will be something the same.
Problem is, it's got a bad name.
Nutella, terrible.
Nutella
name.
doesn't sound good.
Terrible name.
It needs you to remake the name.
It's a terrible name.
So what do you do? What are you going to do with this flavor? You're going to call it Nutella?
No, I don't know.
What happened to the
Actually,
old Tella?
think of a name for the. You can't call it hazelnut.
No.
That's a bad name.
But I used to go to that bank and see the old Tella. Now they got a new Tella, and I don't like her.
What would be a good name for this ice cream? I'll tell you a secret. I make ice cream in the store with two things: mix and Nutella. And we call it, we don't tell anybody what it is, and the sign up there says chocolate velvet. And next to it, it says chocolate like when we were kids. And that's what it tastes like. It's the greatest chocolate ice cream, and it's actually mix and Nutella. Who had some? Anybody have the chocolate velvet? George had it. He's not here today. You had it, right? Very good. Very good. So, chocolate velvet. Actually, this has a little hazelnut. Yeah, I guess you could still. This will be more hazelnutty than chocolatey because we added the Tyranny. You going to be an ice cream maker?
Yes,
You're going to be an ice cream taster
yeah.
and a store manager. Get all your friends in there. This little thing is 22 years old. 22. As soon as she ordered the adult flavors at my store, they carded her like that. Okay, any questions about anything? Come on, humor me.
What's the difference in the only difference in homemade versus gelato or what are the rest of them is the air content?
No, the fat content.
The fat.
Gelato is typically about 8% butterfat.
A while ago you said something about settings on your infinite override. Setting for the override.
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't have that.
I don't
But I
have
mean,
it.
that's a big seller in my area. Is going to be because I can put a sign up there that says homemade ice cream.
Yeah.
Will it? I'm getting it out of.
Here's
a bag
Steve,
and
you
I'm
can
putting it
ask
up.
him.
No.
But homemade has nothing to do with what speed you run your machine at or what butterfat content you use. Homemade is homemade right there in your store. I have a big sign that every batch, what does it say? Every
Homemade, made from scratch.
made from scratch, every batch made from scratch. Homemade ice cream,
How do I
every
get it from what we've been tasting to scoopable ice cream?
It'll be scoopable. Everything we made, put it in the freezer, and as long as your freezers are about 0 to 5, 0 to -5, you'll be fine.
Where you get that? I don't know what that is.
That's
you don't know
on
what
the
that
sheet.
is?
That's
It's called temperature.
I'm gonna come across
The-
this table.
I know you are. I get that a lot. The freezers are usually regulatable. Is that a word?
I like it.
Yeah.
Regulatable by a little dial inside. So and they usually have a little printout up here. This one is broke,
Yeah, it is. Long time ago.
but it'll
It's
say
a -10.
It'll say you don't even need that. Put it in the freezer. The next day, if it's too hard, raise the freezer. Too low, lower the freezer. Too soft, lower.
Typically, you have one that's set at 0 and one that's set at 16. You said a while ago.
No, that's for ices.
Oh, for ice.
That's for Italian ices. You needed a
Okay.
15, 17, right? 15,
Right.
17.
15.
But
16.
ice cream, my freezers run from 0 to -9. Not because I set them at that, just what they are out of the box.
Homemade versus premium versus gelato versus any of the others is all the air content. The slower I spin it, it gets heavier. If you sit down and eat a pint of Haagen-Dazs tonight, you're going to feel awful because it's just so heavy. Also, a 4-ounce scoop of Haagen-Dazs is going to look about that small. Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry did very poorly in retail stores because a 4-ounce portion is so heavy, so dense, that it's small. A 4-ounce portion of homemade is falling off the cone because.
Small amount of air.
But nobody eats air. Nobody walked out of an ice cream parlor and said, "That's the best damn air content I ever ate." They say, "Oh, that flavor was great. The mint was really minty." Nobody walks out and says, "Oh, gee, best butterfat content I ever had." They're eating the package. You don't say, "Boy, that steak really tasted better than any other because it was a grass-fed cow versus grain-fed." You don't make that distinction. You just say, "Wow, I go to such and such a place and I get a great steak." So there's air content, there's fat content, but the most important of all the three of them, the third one's flavor. Flavor is the only one that counts. Baskin-Robbins, who we put in business, and they still use our machines for laboratories, I think is a pretty, technically, on paper, it would be a junky ice cream. But they put so much flavor in it that there is no question that when you eat the raspberry that you know it's raspberry ice cream. We're
Well,
saying
you know it's raspberry flavored ice cream.
it tastes like raspberry. The worst thing I can do in making ice cream is hand you a pale pink product and you say, oh, that's delicious. What is it? And if you can't tell it's raspberry as opposed to strawberry, I've failed as an ice cream maker. It's all about the flavor. Everything else is secondary and depending on your market.
I think you go over it in a video, but if I make ice cream at home right now in my little bitty ice cream maker, and put it in my freezer, I'll freeze to a scoopable.
No, because your freezer can't, the little home unit can't get the ice cream cold enough in the first place, and then your freezer at home isn't cold enough to maintain it. And also, it took you 40 minutes to an hour to make as opposed to 8 minutes, so the crystalline structure is very big, and so it's a grainy ice cream.
Crystals in there.
Yeah, it's the machinery. It's the one time where the machinery makes the difference. Come on up. Last call for ice cream.
Last call for ice cream. Whoops. Vicky.
Oh, man.
In one bowl or two bowls? Hey, 2 bowls.
Everybody takes small portions because the rest of it's going to me. This is good.
Steve,
Yes.
come here a sec. Is this the nature of Nutella? The
Yes.
fact? Okay.
Yeah, that's the Nutella.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because you know your vanilla doesn't do that.
Right.
I'm sorry I didn't get to answer your question. What was the question?
She's got a ton of them.
Asked, yeah. There's a place.
There you
in
go.
Tu- that's okay. I'll get in a minute. There's a place in Tucson. It's just a regular shop, a bakery. They sell 6-inch pies that go out the door like crazy because we have a lot of couples.
You got
Do you
it.
think a smaller size ice cream pie would sell like that?
Yes.
Not,
Yeah.
not. I mean, the regular ones
Any-
probably do, but I mean a smaller,
Yes.
like for 2 people.
Any size pie will sell. The small size is great for, like you say, the couples. Because what happens is you've got this pie and you serve it to
What's the size?
let's say you got a full size and you have a dinner party and you serve it to people. And speaking as a man's standpoint, at 11 o'clock at night, I'm going to cut myself about a little half-inch of pie. And then tomorrow for breakfast, I'm going to cut myself another little half-inch. That pie is going to last a long time. And I'm just eating a little bit at a time. And if anybody asks me, no, I didn't have any pie. Now, if you had a small one, which is a great idea, if you had a small one like that for a couple's size, it's going to feed them. And without the guilt, they're going to say, oh, it's just a little pie. And besides, we split it. Yeah. No, it's great. A lot. More than just the regular cost of the ice cream.
So instead of $5 like a bowl or a cone, maybe
When did you get some?
$25.
Yeah.
I mean,
Again,
you just
it
have to look at the prices.
Again, it depends on the market.
Well,
If it, I mean, you can have, Jeff is right next to a very wealthy retirement community. He'll pay anything. A lot of retirement communities, they're such fixed income that if you get up to $7, all of a sudden it clicks in, hey, I can buy 2 half-gallons of Publix ice cream for the cost of that. I'm going to buy quantity, not quality.
right.
The only mistake that I am aware of in 44 years of setting up ice cream parlors was not going up to visit one store and the guy said, I'm going to be in this community and there's a lot of elderly people and they're looking forward to it. What I didn't realize was they were all on fixed income. It was like St. Pete, Florida. They were so on fixed income that they were not going to buy a $7 ice cream cone. It was a great product, wrong market. Yeah, you got it. You know, people say, how much should I charge? Well, look around and see what everybody else charges and then add more. Because you're homemade, you're better.
Yeah.
How are you going to prove it's better if you don't charge more? But not overly. You can always raise prices. but you can't really bring them down. So start it at a fair price and then see how it goes.
I have a pretty good idea where it is in the market I've been looking at, but that kind of goes to what I was going to talk to you about for a few minutes after, just very specific questions that pertain just to what I'm doing.
Okay,
I appreciate your input on it.
my pleasure.
Scoop it. If you leave it out here too soft, it's going to melt all over the place.
It's going to melt while you're talking if you don't.
Well, you don't have any problem with that.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Well, don't forget, it's not straight Nutella. It's hazelnut.
Yeah, maybe. I like hazelnut.
Yeah, it's a gum.
Now, by the way, you'll never get fat eating this. You can feel the weight you're putting on when you eat this, right? Whoa, I'm getting fatter by the spoonful.
How much different does it taste without that hazelnut, without that liquid?
I don't know. Oh, when I make it at this, oh, it's totally different. Tastes like chocolate ice cream.
There's that place called Handles.
Well, that's all the ice creams we're going to make. How about some, I'll give you a tour of the factory. We have 2 buildings we have here, and across the street we'll tour this one. So if you have any questions, this is a good time to ask them. Nothing, huh? I know if we start out the door. Oh, by the way, Steve, let me ask you this. So what do you got? Last chance?
Jeff, was this, what setting was this on? 234.
Full
which is
homemade.
Homemade.
Yeah. Now, one thing about, don't get over, yes,
Right.
my machines are the
Right.
only ones where you can adjust the air content, so I can give you any product you want. But don't go overboard on thinking about air. People don't eat air. And when your employees go to scoop the ice cream, there are whole videos out that show you the proper way to scoop ice cream is to take the spoon and go in a semicircular motion around the tub, rolling the ice cream into the scoop to preserve what air is there. You've done all your finances, all your bases on whatever overrun this is. You know how much it costs you. But you go home tonight, pick up a spoon, pick up a pencil, a pen, anything. And for 5 minutes, I want you to just go like this. You will curse the day you heard my name because your wrist will hurt so bad for doing that. You'll have carpal tunnel syndrome and everything else they can call it. The way people scoop ice cream, the second you walk out the door, your employees go, them. You're going to scoop from the north to the south because your strength is all right here. So you're going to scoop like this, where you're using these muscles. And by doing that, you're taking 100% overrun and compacting it down to about 75 or 80. You priced it at 100. It's not. It's about 80. You're not going to get the maximum number of scoops. You're going to get something less. So I'd be inclined to run a little bit higher air content, knowing that the employees are going to knock it out. And don't ever get in a fight with a ice cream scooper. They got a right hook that'll kill you. But that's what it is you're going like this, and you're building up this muscle incredibly. But don't get overly engrossed. I'll tell you what, I mentioned it to someone else. Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry failed as retail ice cream stores. They're just, I don't think there's no Haagen-Dazs. I think the Ben & Jerry are almost gone too. Because a 4-ounce portion of theirs is 40% overrun. And 40% overrun, 4 ounces, looks smaller than a golf ball. And so you pay $6 for this golf ball of ice cream, and you go, whoa, I got cheated. Well, if we gave you a huge portion, maybe 10 ounces of it, it's so dense, you'd throw it out. There were literally ice cream cones unfinished out in front of Haagen-Dazs stores, and boy, is that bad for business. Gee, that Haagen-Dazs must not be good. They know their market. Their market is pints. You'll never see a quart of Haagen-Dazs or a quart of Ben & Jerry, or you won't see a quart of any high-priced ice cream because it would be too high. If you're getting $7 for a pint and now you're going to charge $14 or $13.95 for a quart, now people start saying, I could buy 4 half gallons of Breyers for that price and feed the kids. So it does very well in pints, and I love the the pint takeout business is so great. But the air content, don't overthink it. It's all about flavor.
Just remember, in a pint takeout business, you then have to get into the category of ingredient labeling.
Yeah.
Precise health department ingredient labeling.
But that, Jeff, has turned out to be, even though it's a pain in the neck, it's not as hard as it was. We found a program this morning because we're writing a cookbook for the CB100, and we found a whole program that has everything in it, that it's already been figured out, the calories and everything else. So we're coming up with labels like nothing. So it's gotten a lot easier. Anybody
Crystal,
else?
this is ready.
Yeah, more Nutella. We'll have to move all that for you. Yes.
So if you're hand,
You look just like the last guy.
if you're hand packing a pint of ice cream before it leaves the store, it has to have a label on it?
No, it doesn't. But don't hand pack because it's just too wasteful of labor. It was fine back in the 60s when you were paying $1.85 an hour for labor, but now someone for $15 is there packing ice cream, and besides, they're compacting it so bad. I grew up, I was a fat little ugly kid, and I thought the girl at the ice cream parlor, now just old, I thought the girl at the ice cream parlor liked me because she was always packing it in so tough she couldn't even get the top closed. That container at Baskin-Robbins is called a Chinese pint. It is not a full pint unless it's completely overflowing and barely closed. And boy, they are tough on the law on that one. You can have an inspector come in and order up a pint of ice cream and weigh it, and if that weight is light, you'd think you've broken, every federal law on earth.
Steve, what's the difference between a customer walking in and saying, I'll have, let's say your 16-ounce cup, my medium. Mm-hmm. Let's say they say my regular. I'll have a 16-ounce, which is a pint, to go. What's the difference between that and selling a pint with a label on it?
I don't think you have to label if you're selling it to go. It's only when you're selling it to someone else. If you sell it to the
so if I have a
shop,
pint display freezer, pints and quarts?
You don't need labeling. The reason people do it is we've gotten so used to labels, we don't even know what we're reading, but we read it anyway. And so it's become a marketing tool to say, this has got a gazillion calories in it, but you're going to love it.
So you don't need any ingredient distinctions if you're selling from your store to a person?
Not unless unless you sell it to the pizza parlor, right, and he resells it. Now you're wholesale.
Okay.
And even that gets dubious because
gets dubious?
Well, I wouldn't want to. I don't want to test it, but if you come to my store and you order up 50 gallons of ice cream and take it home to your pizza parlor or Italian Ice, from my standpoint, from my legal standpoint, that's a retail sale. Paula walked in and she bought a cup of lemon ice. You walk in and you bought 50 gallons of lemon ice. You both put it into your car. You both drove off. I didn't deliver it. That's retail.
Can't be.
It's retail.
I always thought the distinction was when you package something for resale. Got your name on it, whatever.
Well, in this case, from your standpoint, if you're running a push cart, it's still retail.
So I can tell them when they come knock on my door, Steve said it was okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm out.
I'll send you a file at San Quentin. Anybody else? No? Okay. If you'd like, I'll give you a quick tour of the factory. Thank you.